lovely people. I'm Everett.
And I'm Eli.
We're going to be making a really chaotic video for you guys about being envy.
And we're going to be answering some of your questions that... Yes, wait. Yeah, so we asked you guys to send us in questions on our TikTok video
And Instagram.
And Instagram. We're going to be answering your questions about being trans and non-binary.
My pronouns are they, them. I am non-binary.
My pronouns are they, he, and I am also non-binary.
What I thought it is now.
First question that we got. Do you question yourself and think, am I just doing this, or am I actually doing it because it's who I am?
Yes. Do I question myself? Yes.
I do, because sometimes I'm having a shower, I'm having a little boogie in the mirror. Oh, we got a message. And I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I don't feel dysphoric right now. And then I'm like, oh my god, trans panic. I'm faking being trans because I have no dysphoria. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, I am dysphoric, I'm trans. Hey, surprise. And then I panic about the fact that maybe I'm just doing this, maybe I'm making it all up, because I'm like, this is weird. And then I panic so much that I go into panic mode about my panicking, and then I dysphoria panic. And then I'm like, I'm not faking, it's all good, but now I'm panicking about this.
And you've messaged me many times in crisis.
I'm faking being trans!
I thought that as well, because obviously you go through years of your life using one set of pronouns, and then you realise that's wrong, and then you also think, wait, I do feel some sort of weird comfort, but then the more you come to yourself, the more you realise, ew, no, I don't feel any comfort, and it just feels
Also,
wrong.
when you've just changed your name and just changed your pronouns, you're gonna misgender yourself.
So many times. I dropped my phone in a lake.
They dropped my phone in a lake.
So don't try and call me.
I'm in Boston University.
And do you ever feel uncomfortable shopping in men's or women's sections?
Yes. I don't personally feel uncomfortable as such shopping in men. Well, obviously in most shops there's a men and women's sections, although clothes don't have genders, so whatever the fuck I want. But for me, I feel comfortable in men's clothes because I would feel mostly comfortable shopping in the men's section rather than if there was a gender non. I don't feel uncomfortable about the fact that but I understand why people do, and I do feel uncomfortable about the fact that they're all binary. Like, you go into a shop and it's like men's, woman, and it's like, where do I go? But I don't actually feel uncomfortable with the clothes. I think that was the question. Did that answer the question?
I think that's the question.
Okay.
I don't feel uncomfortable shopping in men's or women's sections, really. I mean, sometimes I get some stares if I was in the men's section, but that's because meanwhile, there's no way to look non-binary. I don't, people assume my gender a lot, so I don't feel uncomfortable in the women's section because people assume, and in the men's section, people assume I'm shopping for someone else.
Also, tip, shop on Valentine's Day or near Valentine's Day, because if you don't pass, not that passing is the goal, but if you don't pass and you go into the men's section to get men's clothes and it's Valentine's Day, people will assume you're shopping for your boyfriend. How do you realise you're non-binary?
Ooh. Well, it's different for everyone, but for me, I always felt kind of weird, but I didn't know what it was, and then I met Eli. And then I was like, oh, so, because I knew non-binary people existed, but I'd never met a non-binary person, besides myself, but, I didn't know at this point. What was I saying? Okay. Yeah, I met you, and then I was like, oh, okay, so, and I finally had a safe space to experiment with she, they pronouns, and then, that's when I sort of realised, now the she feels really weird, and then they does not feel weird at all, so I was like, maybe they, them, and I spoke to my non-binary friends about their experiences, and I could relate with that, so yeah, that's how I figured it out.
I figured it out basically a similar way. I just think she was kind of always like a bullet in the skull, like, gross. So I called myself it for years because I was like, I'm not a girl, I didn't really know what trans was, I knew it was a thing, but I didn't really know what it was. So I didn't even know that was an option, I didn't know what non-binary was until I went to college. So for years I was like, it. And I'd get annoyed at people for not calling me it, I'd be like, she, And then I went to college and I met a non-binary person, and I don't really know how I knew I was non-binary, but I was just like, I didn't even talk to them about it, but I just saw in their bio on social media that they had they, them, and I was like, they, them, oh, that makes sense. And then I experimented with it, realised it felt right.
Also,
And-
gender dysphoria is a big...
Oh yeah, the whole discomfort in your body is a big one. Although not everyone has physical dysphoria.
Yeah,
You don't have to have the physical dysphoria to be trans.
You have social dysphoria.
Emotional dysphoria.
Yeah.
Or all of the above.
Are there any non-binary celebs, artists / people who you look up to that inspire you?
Sam Smith.
I love Sam.
They're awesome.
And also, a lot of people misgender them and they take it on the chin really well. And
bravo to them.
in a way that they also educate people about how that is not okay. It's
Yeah.
good, it's cool.
It's for
Also, Amanda Stenberg.
and Bridget Lundy Payne.
Lundy
That's the
Payne.
one. I love them.
Any more? YouTubers, Ash Hardell.
Oh,
Ash Hardell is a big help for me.
And they made a really cool book about it.
I have Ash Hardell's book.
There is a book.
There is a book that Ash Hardell wrote about all LGBT identities. And if you're questioning, it's a good thing to read. So, or if not, just watch their videos. They have a lot of good videos on different sexualities, genders, everything under the sun.
Why do you love frogs? Every non-binary person loves frogs. I don't know if this is aimed at us, because we kind of have an unhealthy frog obsession. We're working on
Never met an enemy who doesn't love frogs.
Frogs just radiate MB energy, like...
They're chaos and they just scream. Have you ever seen a frog scream? Do you have a YouTube channel?
No.
What is the difference between non-binary, gender non-conforming and gender neutral? I need to find my book. I found the book.
What is the difference between non-binary, gender non-conforming and gender neutral?
The definition of non-binary: existing or identifying outside the sex gender binary, being neither man or woman, or being or being only partially or a combination of these things.
Yay!
Gender non-conforming: these are umbrella terms and descriptors which refer to people who identify and or express themselves in ways that are different from society's binary norms. Gender neutral:
Having a gender that is neutral.
there's not really a clear differentiation. There's just labels that, I mean, I can't say because I don't use, well, I consider myself wanting to be gender neutral, but I'm still non-binary. Same thing for me. Different people have different
Definitions.
different labels. Whatever suits you best. Check out my TikTok and Eli's TikTok.
No, don't check out my TikTok. Wait, no, do check out my TikTok.
Yeah.
I have a total of 12 followers, guys. If you want to up that, go ahead.
We made a video asking you guys to send us questions. I don't think we're gonna be able to do all of them, but we'll try and do most. Oh, shout out to my lovely friend Sophia. I love you. She says, what does being non-binary mean? I need people to listen to your amazing explanations and learn.
We kind of explained what non-binary means to us.
Yeah, it means different things to different people.
Not falling in the binary. So if the binary consists of male and female, just like not being a part of that binary. Like males here, females over here, like somewhere in the middle, or completely out of it, or
Both.
just not being male or female, basically.
Great. It's a fun time.
It's a great place to be. We love it here. Is it allowed to use they, them pronouns when you're not non-binary? I'm cis, but I kind of want to try out them or she, they. But is that okay? First of all, yeah, of course that's okay.
100% okay.
You can try out, experiment with whatever pronouns you're comfortable with and whatever pronouns feel right.
Yeah, and if you experience using they, them pronouns or any other pronouns that are separate from that of your assigned gender, like we usually go with that, and it turns out that that's not right, and you have to go back. That doesn't mean that you were faking or lying. You're just figuring yourself out, and that's 100% okay.
Exactly. If you don't experiment, then you'll never know. So if you feel more comfortable with they them pronouns rather than whatever pronouns you use at the moment, then go ahead, use them. Or if you want to use a mixture of both, or some people use any pronouns, like just say you use any pronouns like she, they, he, ze, like whatever you feel comfortable with.
Some people have no pronouns.
Some people have no pronouns, and you say the person's name, which is really cool. So yeah, completely okay.
What do I say to people when they invalidate my he, they pronouns, saying you can't be both?
Well, that's bollocks.
It's just a little bit rude, really.
It's a little bit transphobia.
You can explain that, I mean, unless you identify as gender fluid, if you're gender fluid, of course you can be gender fluid. Being gender fluid is not being both genders, it means that your gender is fluid. And if that is the case, then you can explain that. And if that's not the case, and you are non-binary, and you use he, they pronouns, that doesn't mean that you're both. That just means that those are your pronouns that you're comfortable with.
I don't think anyone has the right to tell you that you can't use a certain pronoun or invalidate any pronouns that you're using, because those pronouns are for you. You're not putting your pronouns onto someone else. I'm not saying to Ren, you use she pronouns now. You've got to use she pronouns. Like, no.
I wouldn't like that.
But I could say about me, I could say, Ren, I use she pronouns.
And I'd be like, okay, cool.
Like, it doesn't affect other people. Just say that it's none of your business. And if I don't know who this person is, if they're someone that's trying to be transphobic, or if they just need a little bit of educating and asking for a bit of help, because no one's born understanding all of this. So if it's someone who's like, you can't be both and wants to learn, then of course educate them and tell this person that, first of all, you can be both, and second of all, using he, they pronouns doesn't necessarily mean you're both. Sometimes it can mean, like for me, I use he, they pronouns. For me, that means that sometimes I'm more comfortable with they, sometimes I'm more comfortable with he. It's kind of varies. You can be both. If you're not both, you can still use both sets of pronouns because it's your pronouns. So,
and pronouns are not your gender identity.
Yeah,
they don't always match.
Mm-hmm.
You
could be a guy who uses she pronouns, or a guy who uses they pronouns.
Whatever makes you most comfortable, no one else should be allowed to question that. If you're non-binary, which bathroom do you go into?
This is a trooper.
Whatever makes you feel most comfortable. Whatever you feel safest in, really. If there's a gender-neutral bathroom, I will use that, but quite often, obviously, that's not the case. But personally, if that's not the case, I've never gone into the men's bathroom because I wouldn't feel comfortable in it, and people would flag me up. I don't look like a man. So,
not that that's the goal.
No, that's not the goal.
Because you can be a man and not pass as a man. That doesn't invalidate your gender at all. You can still use whatever bathroom you feel safest and most comfortable in. I appreciate that sometimes if people find it harder to pass, then they wouldn't feel comfortable in, say if it was like a trans woman, they wouldn't feel comfortable going into the women's toilets because people can be mean, but obviously she wouldn't be comfortable in the men's because she's a woman, so why would she be in the men's?
It's a tricky situation sometimes.
Disabled toilets are usually gender neutral, so by all means you're allowed to use that toilet because it's the only toilet for your gender, then it's the only toilet for your gender. Or pee in a bush.
Yeah, but most of the time with trans people it goes on whatever they feel safest doing. But, which it shouldn't be, but it is. People are just trying to pee. What is in between the legs is nobody's business.
I like this question. Has your people found happiness?
I'm happy. Are you happy?
Having a blast.
In terms of non-binary people? I think we're happy most of the time, but it would be nice if there was less stigma. Less transphobia, especially around non-binary people.
Yeah.
Because people don't necessarily understand non-binary people much.
It has got better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that we've achieved full, like, acceptance and happiness, but it's getting there. We're getting there.
We're getting to happiness.
We're getting to happiness.
Slowly.
Oh, that's cute.
Aww.
Psych. I wanted a mama.
Aww. wanted to ask how was your day today, that's all. It's been an interesting day. Thank you for asking. Comment how your day was if you're watching.
And if anyone just wants to just message us.
Comment.
Yeah, that's the one. Comment. Tell us how your day was because we care.
I will reply.
Don't be trying to go back. We already despise you.
Anyways, what we're doing.
Don't be trying to go back. We already despise you.
Flashing mics in.
Why are non-binary people so cool and beautiful? Like, do you have to take non-binary fashion classes, or what is the deal? How do you look so good? I have to say,
answered that question.
non-binary people do have good fashion sense.
Yeah, I think the main reason for that though is because they don't. Because non-binary is outside of the binary, so.
You have the good things about the male and the good things about the female. It's great.
But not that there is a way to look non-binary, but a lot of non-binary people do wear clothes that make them happy rather than the clothes that they wear to try and make other people
them
happy.
to wear to make them happy, which is great.
But if you like the clothes that you're wearing, then you look cool because you're comfortable.
Exactly.
Awesome.
The more comfortable you feel, the cooler you're gonna look. Not that all non-binary people feel comfortable in themselves, but like you're rejecting the binary anyway. You're already going against society, so like you may as well go against society just a little bit more, rebel a little bit more.
Rebel a little bit more.
You do you, boo, and it's just cool.
How do I explain being non-binary clearly to people? My best mate is Envy, I'm trans, and I want to make sure my parents understand.
That's a good question. I like that question. Explaining things to parents is a hard one because that generation one, non-binary people were around, but the society wasn't as accepting as it is now. Although society isn't completely accepting, we have evolved and we are getting somewhere. And this generation, I think, is more accepting. We understand more, so that more people are coming out as non-binary because of that. I would just say this person isn't a guy and they're not a girl either.
With people that don't understand it, I think it's okay to say to them that they don't need to understand it, they just need to respect it.
Mm-hmm.
And the information is out there if they want to go looking. Being non-binary is not a choice, it's just the way that you feel, and that explain that that's what makes you comfortable, and them supporting you with that regardless of whether they understand it or not would be what would make you happy. But of course, only do that if you know that it's a safe thing to do. Don't come out if you're not safe to do so.
Definitely only come out if it's safe to do so.
To explain a person to your parents, just maybe, even if they don't understand it, just ask them to respect it.
Mm-hmm. They don't have to understand everything. No one understands everything. If they want to understand it more, there's a lot of links. We can include some links down below about non-binary identities. And there are certain words that I think that generation understand more that aren't necessarily true. So, for example, when I changed my name, I would say to my parents, because I can't just say my name is Eli. Eli isn't my birth name. But I can't just say my name is Eli because they wouldn't understand that, because that generation, they're like, well, your name is the name that I gave you. So you're allowed to use words like preferred name, even though it isn't a preferred name. We know that whatever you say your name is, that's your name. But you can use words like that and words like they identify as this, even though it's a lot more than just identifying as something. Oh, that's a really cute doggo. But you're allowed to use words like that. It's often a lot easier for parents to understand, I think, if you just say, like, this person identifies as this, they prefer to use they pronouns, and then it won't teach them to understand, but it hopefully will teach them to respect it a little bit more, because they'll be like, if you prefer this, then we'll call you this, hopefully. If not, it's just kind of transphobic.
Yeah, just try and put things in layman's terms. If people still aren't respectful of that, then it's a really tricky situation and it sucks, but
you can't force someone to understand if they don't want to learn. I might be the dumbest person on the planet, but how does one become non-binary? Well, you see, the thing is, right, you're sleeping and a magic fairy comes along in the middle of the night and chops off your boobs, and then it goes and steals them and gives them to a fire-eating dragon who uses them as fuel.
To have powers. And that is what that person wakes up and they're automatically magically non-binary. Awesome. So when did the dragon steal the boobs?
I'm still waiting for my dragon. There's no dragon, I'm sorry.
people who are non-binary
They
are
don't become
born
non-binary.
non-binary.
They can realise that they're non-binary, and that can be whenever. Like, you can be like 50 years old and realise you're non-binary. It doesn't mean that you've just become non-binary. You've still been non-binary your whole life. You okay?
Yeah?
I
I just love you.
You've distracted me now. Damn you.
Damn you.
That is a really cute dog. Look at how good it is. It's just like sat there letting that man hose it, and it's like, I really don't want to be here.
What were you saying? Yes, non-binary people are born non-binary. They just realise it. It's as simple as that.
Where is it?
I use she, they pronouns, but I think I might just be NB or possibly gender fluid. I'm confused about my gender. Do you have any advice?
I would say just experiment with different pronouns. Like, you'd probably be more of an expert on this than me because you used to use she, they pronouns. And when you start experimenting, like, if you have a preference, you might not have a preference, but if you have a preference, then you'll realise, I hope this person calls me they instead of she because I prefer to be called they. And then, like, you can tell people, I prefer to be called they, and then people will start calling you they more. And then if you decide that they is the pronoun, also you can be non-binary and use she, they pronouns. Not every non-binary person uses they, them pronouns. So I would just say experiment and then see what you feel most comfy with.
Keep trying to do what makes you most comfortable. Eventually, you'll just come to a realisation. You'll figure it out. It takes time, but you'll get there.
Do you like cheese?
Yes!
Cheese is
I love cheese.
lit.
Cheese.
I like cheese.
This is my favourite question.
What was the question?
Ooh!
Oh.
I've got one. You might not know the answer, but if you have nieces or
I know
nephews
this
or
question.
grandchildren, what do they call you?
Should we say it at the same time? Dramatic effect.
Wait. And the gender neutral term
Get ready,
for
drum
aunt
roll.
or uncle. There are many, but this is our favourite.
Zizi! It's a cool word.
And it's a cool word.
The gender neutral term for niece, nephew, if that's what you're asking as well, is, are we ready?
If your equivalent of a niece or nephew is non-binary.
Nibbling!
You're
I think
nibbling.
it's so cool.
There are lots of different terms, and it just depends what you're comfy with. Like, in terms of parents' names, I would be happy being called Mum, but that's just my preference. Whereas
I
want to
be called Papa or Obi. That's such a cute dog.
Like, Ren is another gender neutral term for parent, but my name is Ren. Well, I'm Everin, but I get called Ren. So, but I wouldn't want to be called Ren as a parent because, like, that's my name, and I'm comfortable with the term Mum. Still fanboying over the dog.
It's so cute.
Oh!
Sorry. The doggo stood up.
Why are you sinking?
Why are you guys so swag?
We're not swag, we're weirdos, but weirdos are swag.
Embrace it. I have cat hair!
If I ever get a non-binary friend, is it considered rude to ask them what their pronouns are for that day?
I don't think so.
No, I quite often ask Eli what their pronouns are that day, whether they prefer he, they, or both, or one or the other.
I think that's the best way to do it because it's always better to ask.
I mean, ask them if they're comfortable with that, of course, but
Yeah.
most people will probably prefer that you ask.
Rather than just assume, it's always good to ask. I like this one. So, like, if a Karen asks you if you are a boy or a girl, I mean, yes, you offend, but on the other side, it means you... Oh, this isn't a question, but yes, it's a very cool thing. This means that you pass the test as non-binary, right? Yes. My graphics teacher asked my friend this. I went in for an interview because I wanted to do graphic design. I wanted to switch my course. And the graphics teacher pulled my friend aside and was like, so is that a girl or a boy? And my friend was like, boy. And I was like, fuck yes, I passed.
It's very validating when people get confused.
I love it. When people just look at you. Like, the other day I was in a shop and this lady was like, I don't know what she was apologising for. I was just in my own little world, but she was apologising to me and the other person. But she was going to turn around and be like, sorry, girls. And then she saw me and was like, sorry, guys. And she was like, whoa, gender confusion. Like, yes, I passed the test.
I see a human, but I'm not sure what I refer to this human as, and you're just like... any dysphoria coping mechanisms? I'm FDM and my dysphoria has been pretty bad recently.
I think everybody copes with things differently, so I can't really say like a solid coping mechanism. Just a general one. Just a general one. I find personally, and I think I've seen like YouTube videos of other people saying that this helps them as well. I find walking really helps my dysphoria. Obviously, not everyone has access to that, but if I'm feeling really dysphoric, I just go for a little walk, get some Monster energy on the way, which always makes me happy, takes my mind off the gender dysphoria. That's the word. What else helps me specifically for FTM? I think that can work for any dysphoria. Specifically for FTM though, wearing a binder, if you can access a binder, really helps my dysphoria. Not everybody can have access to a binder, or not everyone wants to wear a binder, but for me, if I'm having chest dysphoria, I put on my binder.
Like rubbing your chest. And
Down. If you lie down and rub your chest, or get somebody else to rub your chest, that helps. Wearing baggy clothes helps me. I feel like I should know more. I should have more tips. I don't really cope. I kind of just go into this cocoon and cry, and then Ren comes in, and they're like, okay. And then there's like this hibernating cocoon that's like, I don't want to go anywhere, don't look at me, don't touch me. Listening to music helps me.
I've seen a lot of people on TikTok when they're feeling dysphoric ask people to like put compliments in their comments, using their pronouns to affirm.
I like that.
Everything,
Whenever
that's good.
when I was at home, my parents would dead name me, I would message a friend and be like, what's my name? And people would get really confused that I hadn't done that before, because they'd be like, Eli, and I'd be like, what? Eli. And then you just get people to keep saying it, and then eventually you're just kind of drilling it into your own head.
Yeah.
What if you're non-binary, but there's only a male and female changing room? What do I go into? So this is kind of like the bathroom shenanigans. Whatever you're most comfortable in, I guess.
Yeah, and whatever you feel you'd be safest in.
It depends on the situation.
If, for example, if you are comfortable and you feel safe going into it, if there's a changing room that has separate cubicles, then that would be safe, and I don't see what, if you're comfortable doing that, go for it.
Also, usually in changing rooms, they sometimes have showers, don't they? I used to always get changed in the showers, although sometimes that would be really chaotic, because sometimes I'd fall over onto the shower and the shower would turn on and then all my clothes would get wet, and then people would be like, where have you been? And I'm like, I don't know. But I would always get changed in the showers because dysphoria, don't want people to see me, and also, I don't belong here. And I'd be like, oh my god, tears, I'll just hide in the shower.
How did you tell people? Tell people that who are also non-binary. Luckily, I'm surrounded by a lot of non-binary people.
We kind of all like merged together.
Merged.
It's magnetic force.
But yeah, I felt safe doing that because obviously they'd experienced it, they knew the same thing. And then when it comes to telling my family, that was terrifying. And I got Eli to come with me for support, and just, you know, they actually said it for me. With my permission, of course.
I don't even remember how I told people.
I think you word vomited.
Your
mum.
Yeah. Well, that's how I told my mum. I word vomited because I came out as gay, and then she was like, so is Eli your gay name? And I was like, I hadn't planned to say this, but I'm a very impulsive person. No, I just blurted out everything, and I was like, I'm non-binary, Eli is my name, blah, 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 blah. So that's how I came out to my parents, and then I assume she just told my dad.
Yeah, my
Friends,
mum told my
I
dad.
don't really know how I came out to like friends and people.
Or
Just
an
sort of-
online post, I came out to everyone, like all my friends, through a post online.
Yeah. You're born a girl, but trans after you change your pronouns. Do you go to the men's bathroom?
Oh, you sort of answered this.
Well, go to whatever bathroom you're comfortable in.
If you're non-binary but gay, what gender is that person attracted to? No one has given me a clear answer. Thank you. Oh, thank you for the thank you. For me, I'd say that I'm gay because if I'm dating a non-binary person and we're both non-binary, that's gay. If I was to date a girl, I would consider that gay. And if I was to date a guy, some people wouldn't consider that gay because of my appearance. But personally I would, because if that wasn't considered gay, that means that people would be seeing me as a girl, and that would make me uncomfortable. It depends on the person. Like, a lot of non-binary people can say that they're gay, but say they're attracted to girls. Or feminine attracted but gay, or some people, I'm bisexual, so I'm attracted to all genders. You are bisexual but attracted to enemies and women, is that correct? Not men, or are you attracted to men? Who knows?
I'm
Who
working
knows?
it out.
And that's okay. And some people don't even need a label. Some people like quite. I most of the time just use queer.
I love the word queer because it kind of covers all of it. Just say I'm queer.
But if it's like, if it's someone you don't really know, it's
Not in a rude way. It's not really like your business. But if it's like a friend or something, you're just confused, or you want to know, like, for a reason, you just ask.
Be
If
like,
someone
do you
says
consider
they're
yourself gay?
And if they're like, yeah, be like, oh, so what gender are you attracted to? And if they're happy to tell you, they'll be happy to tell you.
How did you choose androgynous names you like if you changed your names? I don't know the answer to this question because I don't know where it came from. I wasn't even thinking about changing my name. So I think someone asked me my name once or something and I was just like, Eli. And I was like, wait, what? Who the fuck is Eli? I'd never even heard this name before.
Epiphany!
It was an epiphany. I was just like, who's Eli? And then I was just Eli. And then I asked a few of my friends to call me Eli. I don't know where the word came from, honestly. It was just there. I didn't really have to go into any thinking or choosing a name or anything. It was just there and I stuck with that name for years. So that's how I came up with it. Didn't really come up with it, it was just there.
I have an answer that might help. I didn't plan on changing my name because I thought that I was comfortable, but then like once I came out as non-binary I was a bit like so I just googled gender neutral names, like read through them, and then I saw the name Ren and I was like, oh, that's my name. You just sort of like know when you see it. And then I wanted a long version for the name Ren because with my dead name I used to go by a different name and I most of the time went by a nickname of that name, and I kind of wanted the same dynamic. So that I couldn't really find one. I googled it, couldn't find one. Then I was just scrolling through TikToks and someone made a TikTok about fantasy NB names. And I was like, oh, cool. And then Everin popped up, which means universe. And I was like, oh, that's it. What would you call a non-binary person if you are dating them?
I like this question.
I'm dating a non-binary.
I'm dating a non-binary too.
You're non-binary?
I would ask the person what they feel most comfortable with, because lots of people feel comfortable with different things. You can be non-binary and use binary labels, terms. Like, you can be a non-binary person who's comfortable with girlfriend. You can be, I'm a non-binary person, but I'd be comfortable with boyfriend. Like, not girlfriend, because, but partner is a gender-neutral one.
Yeah, like, but obviously I didn't come out as non-binary until a while after I was dating Eli. And I just asked you what you were comfortable with. And also, shout out to One Day at a Time, if you've ever watched that. There's a non-binary character in there who dates Elena, and Elena is female and Sid is non-binary, and they come up with, there's an episode where they try and come up with a partner name. Schneider, our favourite character, well,
We do love him.
he's great, and he comes up with different names.
We came up with another one.
Oh yeah, NB friend,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
NB is the equivalent term for the word boy or girl.
Also, you can just incorporate non-binary into anything. Non-binosaur, non-pineapple.
Main squeeze.
Main squeeze is my favourite one.
Mighty Morphin Power Ganger.
My gay of sunshine!
SO, significant other.
That's the one they come up with in the end. I like that one, that one's cool.
Significant other.
That works better if your name is Sid.
Yes.
Significant.
Or partner.
Significant Eli.
This is my main squeeze.
Or MB friend. We kind of mix it up, but just whatever the other person's comfortable with, I guess.
And then that's it. That was
That's
the
it for the
video.
question.
We want to make some more videos on here. But we're just trying to figure out what type of content we want to make.
So, if you watch this video and you have ideas for other videos that you want us to make,
comments.
put them in the comments and we will read them all and
Try and make some cool stuff. And we're happy to answer any more questions that you have.
we like answering questions.
We do like
no
answering
question
questions.
is a silly question.
Thanks for watching.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
cheese sticks.
Bye bye, cheese sticks.